On the face of it, today's video is pretty simple. I have two sharks here belonging to Mr. James. One of them is, which one am I looking at? This one, a 240 volt British model. Well, I say British, they're both made in China. This one is 120 volt US model. The plan at the end of the video is to get all of the internals from this one transplanted into this one, and hopefully Mr. James can keep it because he prefers it to the other one. So, pretty simple. It's probably not going to be in practice. Let's have a look and see how far we get. Yes, hello my vacuum cleaner and shark chums. How are you today? Yes, we have an American in the building today and an English one as well. I'm going to put that one to one side and we'll get this one open. Mr. James has been using this as his daily vacuum cleaner for a couple of months now. He's had it since brand new, and yeah, he just prefers using this one really. I've never seen either of them, so it'll be quite good for us as well to experience what we have. And the first amazing bit of luck is that both of these do not have an electronic hose. This is the model where you don't. All the bits and bobs are on the machine as opposed to the older style which had a powered wand and hose. So immediately that gives a lot of complication gone really, because we don't have to faff around swapping the hose. Here is the floor head. It is, what is this? It is an UV700 UK. So on this one there is no anti-hair wrap just there, and already for just a couple of months old the thing is absolutely filthy. Still not a massive fan of sharks, as you might tell, but this should be quite easy, I'm hoping. Here is our non-electric wand, very nice. More packaging, and in here is the machine itself, with its cable, obviously, with its 3-pin plug. Put the box over there. Oh, let me get this together and we'll check it works. Works fine. Look, I can clean up the bird's mess from where he ate a piece of treat there. Marvellous. Nothing wrong with that one at all. Let's get the American one open. Oh, tilt you up just a little bit there so you can see what's going on, because yes, this is where I've never seen one of these before. I don't even quite know where Mr. James got it from. I'd imagine it's all legal and above board, but yes, it is a USA device. Ooh, have a few more bits here. Crikey, I've got to keep packaging separate. We have a crevice tool, very different to anything I've seen before. We have a dusting brush, which actually looks, well, that bit looks very familiar. I've seen those on AGs from the 1980s and whatnot, but it's slightly different. It's a bit plusher. It's quite nice, a little bit stiff, but not too bad. Here we actually have the flex that is going on to this machine, because this flex is quite hard and cheap, and Mr. Jones just asked if I could fit this to it when we're done, so that's a thing. We have the hose for this model, which we don't have to touch. Oh, a bit of packaging there. Got to get it back in the box, you see, so I've got to be a little bit thoughtful about it. Ooh, here, ooh, it's brand new. Look at that, look, that's not been used. Very nice indeed. We have the controversial anti-hair wrap. Controversial because you have to have precisely the right settings and hard floors and carpet mix for it to work at all. I'm not entirely sure what the model number is either, because there is nothing on there at all. So we shall keep digging, have ourselves and wand. Down here we have ourselves an vacuum cleaner, complete with American style plug. What have we got here? We have a UV700. My American viewers will know exactly what that means. Doesn't mean much to me, to be honest. I think this one's brand new. Let's take the bin off. Yes, this has never ever been used, I presume. I don't think Mr. James has a 110 volt inverter, so that's probably why it is new and unused. But we are going to use it now, just before we rip out its... Why don't you go on? There we go. Before we rip its heart, lungs and soul out, we'll give it a quick go and check if it works. Cable on this one feels really cheap and nasty as well, to be honest, but it's plugged into my 110 volt adapter and... Not bad! Fantastic! We are the first people, I think, to ever use that at all. And yes, the next bit is the complicated part, where we need to take one of these apart in order to rip out its brains. And I think we'll start with this one, purely because it's been used already, and I don't think we're going to want it after we have done what we need to do. So I'm going to get set up and we'll take it apart. Let's get started with the 240 volt model, and although I've never done one of these before, it looks pretty simple. We have a mixture of security torques and normal torques, and the first thing we'll do is take all the screws, if I can get this one out, that hold the back on first, because the back is where you have to start. There's 6 at the front on this model. Best put them all in a neat little pile, hadn't we? And then there's also 2 at the back. In fact, there's more at the back, I think, because the tool holders also hold the back on. So they'll have that off and that off. Then we'll take these... Oh no, wait, they don't. Oh, fab. This is it then. Now, how do we proceed from here? I think this top bit comes up. Do we have any hidden screws before I go make a boo-boo? No, we don't. So it's a case of levering things and working out where the clips are. There's one. I don't want to cause too much damage to the plastic either, because it's very soft and liable to break. Oh, the joy. Ah, there's one. It's too far away. Can you come up, please? Come on. Oh. Ah, it's putting little divots in, unless these buttons come out and there's a screw under. Ah, there is, look. Little tiny screw underneath. Let's get you out. The old wand release button. Yes, 2 small tiny screws hiding in there. Ugh, so we shall get that out. Oh, no, not you. This is what taking sharks apart is like. You have to go through a bajillion different bits to work out what it is. Aha, you are a T, come on, T9 on the top. Ugh, gonna be a theme in today's video, I think. Oh, you're not coming out. Oh my goodness, let's not start doing this, please. T9, T10 perhaps? Oh, possibly. And look, it just comes straight off like that. Marvellous. So there's that. We have our button here. Oh, can't actually see fully what I'm doing. There we go. So that's that off. And in theory, the back should come off now, although I think actually these are holding the back on as well. I don't think these are a T9, a T10. I think it's like a T8.5. Crikey. Aha. Oh, there's screws underneath. Apologies if I'm boring you already, folks. That's where they are. 2, 3, 4. I can feel it coming apart already. Ugh. Bajillion screws already. And yes, the back is off. And yeah, pretty much identical to the older models that I've done. The only thing I need to look at now is the voltage of these boards, because I don't know if they're 240 volt compatible or not. I'm going to say no, and we're going to strip all of the wiring out of the machine because it's just going to be easier, I think. So we have 2 crosshead screws holding the cable guide in so that you don't rip the cable out. Oh, come on, this is actually a crosshead, but I'm using a very tiny flathead in order to do it because I'm lazy and already fed up with swapping bits and bobs around. Then we can pull this loom. If I can get the first wire, 1, 2, there's a handy guide there. There we go. Then this part needs to come out in order for these wires to come out of their little hole. Oh my goodness, come on. Ah. You gonna come out, little fella? What are you doing, Phoenix? Are you gonna start to nibble at everything? Come on. Don't want to rip the cable. I'm going to basically undo all of this and then I'll come back. Nah, get that screw out your beak. And come back and we're ready to move on. And with that, we can, oh my goodness, there's just all these little clips everywhere that hold the wires on. I mean, I get why they're there, but it doesn't make them any less annoying. And just like that, we are down to our little tiny cheapy motor, which I think is, yeah, identical to the older ones. Yeah, quite clean inside. Mr. James said he hasn't actually cleaned the filter on this. And you know what? I normally give Shark a bit of a bad rep because all the fine dust goes straight through the filters and into here. And you know what? I'll give him credit. That is pretty spotless. So, this is, I mean, bar this, but there's not a lot we can... Oh, actually, they are crimped on. That's handy. On the older ones, they are basically soldered together. So we can change the flex easily, but we'll leave that for now. This is our British 240 volt loom motor. Forgot what I was saying then. Next thing we've got to do is all that again, but to the blue American one. So I shall fast forward a little bit because I explained all this. This is probably going to be absolutely identical. And then, yeah, come back and we're ready to fit stuff into, well, this bit. We'll do the brush roll housing separately. big mess of electronics here. And oddly enough, the American motor is actually more what I would expect from Shark. Little tiny cheap motor. This one's beefy in comparison, but they're both physically the same size. And like I say, I've got to change everything because I don't know whether, you know, all of this is voltage specific, and actually that cap's not. So I would imagine that this stuff doesn't really care. But I don't know really, there's nothing on there to, you know, tell me, and I don't want to risk it. So, in theory, that is that. Now, there is one little thing that I've just noticed, is that the difference is actually in here. They are physically the same, except this one, look, has two tabs there, which means that the motor holder doesn't really fit in because I've got to notch it around those two tabs there. And also, in fact, actually, once this is in, it's okay. And I think because obviously Shark presses down, in the same way that we got a Belaco motor into one of the old Navigators, we should be able to just force it in there, and then by the time everything's squished together, it should work. Because yeah, obviously we need our little insidey bit in there. So, probably going to notch this out rather than this, just with some pliers ever so quickly. With our little notches cut out, and I've put the rubber from the back of this motor underneath there just to act as a bit of a damper. And then this will now sit in here pretty much fine because its cutout matches this now. So we've got to push the cable grommet in, which is incredibly tricky because there is flip all room to work. Thank you, Euro Shark, bless you. Pain in the bum. And then got to try and make this. I think that's possibly in, but I don't think it is. But eventually you'll get it looking something a little bit like this. Oh no, wait! Before we get it looking like that, I should probably explain all of this. Yes, it turns out there was an extra bit of moulding in there, which I've chopped out, and because it doesn't have them, I've torn the sort of sound deadening. And this is full of dust. I was right. I wasn't lying to you. It just takes a bit longer than 3 months for it to kill itself, which is actually, we need to put this back because this is the bit that it needs to fully kill itself, and we don't want to make it not do that. Oh no, wait, wrong motor. This one, look, because this one fits. What's that, Phoenix? Hey, do you not like our shark bodging? There's going to be shark aficionados swearing over this one. So yes, with that chopped out and those in, then I can put this on, fit the motor. You know what, we jump a fair bit actually to it being back together because crikey, it is tricky to try and do this whilst explaining. You basically have to, if you let it go, everything falls out. So, you know, it's all back together now. And put the bin on, we'll put the hose on so we can actually, because I need to test an air leak, so I need to be able to block it off. And then we'll plug it in, turn it on. And there is that bit anyway done, because yeah, we obviously cannot place it on its floor tool because there will be a big explosion and the floor tool will not work again. So now, oh gosh, it's time to get inside of our anti-hair wrap brush roll. Where is my little tiny screwdriver? In fact, no, I do not want my little tiny screwdriver. What I actually want is the knife. Because the very first thing to do on any of these floor heads is to pop the screw covers off. And you need to try and do it in, oh my Does that mean that it's a really cheap blade, or that these are actually a bit better than I thought? Trick here is to try and get these off without damaging the heck out of them. Let me see what I can find. I hate these things. There isn't really a simple way to do it, short of either the correct tool, which may exist, or I imagine if you ever send one of these back to Shark to be, well, as a swap, they just throw it away and never bother at all. I tried my smallest little, these are supposed to be, I haven't actually used them yet, things to remove connectors from blocks. Tried the smallest one of those, too thin, it just bent. In the end, bang a screwdriver down, flick it out. It's the easiest way, because yeah, you have to take the sides off first. Literally the first thing you have to do on one of these is yet again swap your bits over to T9. No, far too big. T9, that was a T10, my bad. Been a long day at the office. There. Take out the two side screws. Oh my goodness, these are like ever so slightly different sizes. T9's too small, T10's too big. What is going on? T10 does work if you push it right down so that it grabs. That's the good thing about torque, you can do that. It's either my cheap bits or this cheap Shark. Then, poppity pop, we best take that off. Ready to pop off this cover. These will come with it, that's fine. Oh look, they changed the design. These wheels used to be very bespoke and I had terrible problems finding a set for my Apex. In fact, it's bodged as it is, but hey, they come straight off. Maybe Shark learned that, hey, maybe people do just want to replace the wheel rather than the entire head. Doubt it. Probably just cheaper to make the wheels like that than they were like a sort of ball bearing before. There we go, that can come off there. I have to not be scared about seeing little bits of blue plastic everywhere because that is from something else. And then, oh my goodness, we have to take out all of the screws from this part here. Come on, grab. Your torques, you shouldn't need to faff around trying to grab. Or is it because I'm rushing so this video doesn't become 75 hours long? Very possibly. Now this is actually where the job gets a little bit scary because the motor was relatively simple. What happens now if... oh, there's one there. What happens now if the motor from here is different to the motor in there? I don't quite know. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, 120 volts, completely bespoke. So yeah, we cannot do anything else but swap the entire gubbins around again. And this is where I think could be different on one of these. We might have to cut some wires. I don't know though, it might be alright. All sort of depends. Oh look, there's a little bleed valve thing there. I haven't seen inside of one of these heads before. Where do we start? Well, I actually want to start by popping the internal hose off. It's got the new style of internal hose. Oh, you know what, let's just undo the screws that hold the entire thing into place. There we go. So yeah, a newer style of internal hose, one that isn't going to break, in theory. Ugh. Yeah. I think I can actually, because worst case, I'll just swap all the innards around. Don't fully know how these come apart anyway. This is a style of head that I have not had. I cannot lie. Sure, it'll work itself out in the end. And it would be a lot easier to do it that way as well. Right, how do we separate you? Look, we've just undone all the screws. You gonna unclip for us? Yeah? Hey! There we go. Right. Use... oh, okay. No, I think we're going to have to cut wires because that is not going to go through that little gap there. Of course not. Would be far too simple. Oh my goodness, more screws. Oh, I've got to do this twice. I'm such an idiot. Should have just said no. Use your black one. Not put it into the shiny of the American one. But hey, where's the fun in that? Oh goodness. Right, I'm off to work out how the heck this all comes apart. In fact, a good place to start is probably going to be this front bit there. Yeah, there's just screws flipping everywhere. Horrible machines, but simple to work on. As much as they're cheap and nasty and all the rest of it, cannot deny it is quite easy. Just fiddly. Fiddly. As you'll notice, we're doing yet another bit change for these little chaps in here, which should be this pivot unlocked now. Yes. Ish. Now, do you come out, or are we going to have to take... We are going to have to take the hose off of this bit. So why don't we just do that in the first place? Why did I try and be clever? There we go. Aha. This screw here should release this, but yeah, this is where things do get a little bit tricky. Although I can put the joint in here, so it's not too bad. Because yeah, this bit is actually fed through the housing there anyway. Comes all the way down here. It actually does end up on all of these bits. So maybe if I work out which wires go where, we've got a black, a pink. There's the black, there's the pink, and there's the white. I think I might actually destroy those, and then I can separate the looms and just dot a bit of solder, or even just some more crimps. Who knows? Let me get this separated, because I think might actually be the easiest way if I put all of this back together. Now I'll just take it apart for you and split the loom here, because this is going to take whatever voltage. I don't think this is a 120 volt specific wire, because it looks the same as the other wire. So let me just fix my little catastrophe. Oh, I'm not looking forward to editing this thing together. Who knows if you'll even see it. Right, now we're back to crosshead, but that is the wrong size crosshead. So again, we'll just use a flat blade screwdriver, like a, well, not a moron, I think it works. It's the right size. To undo the PCB, I have already unplugged the LEDs from it. There you go. And yeah, again, I don't know if this is 110 volt specific or not really. Now we can take out the motor. Shouldn't need to touch anything else here, just the motor. We'll put the belt back on in a bit and where you go? Oh yeah, there's a safety switch under here that needs to come out. Now I'm actually questioning the LEDs, because I'm sure they were 240 volt before. Oh crumbs, I don't actually know what voltage the LED... this could be a pain in the bum, because if they're different, they're going to go bang, and I'm not going to know if they're different until they go bang. And to take the LEDs out of one of these heads involves stripping quite a bit down, I think. Oh, I guess we're about to do that, aren't we? Oh my goodness, this was supposed to be a little simple video, just swapping the electronics over on a shark. Right, now I can't remember where all the screws are now. It's been a while. There's certainly two littler ones which are stripping out. Luckily I've got some spares, haven't I? This is the problem with this, I've got to do all this again to the other side. which is where it becomes a pain in the bum. Yeah, we got to take the entire middle section out on these. So we shall remove our belt that drives the front pulley, which hasn't worn through the casing yet. Very good. And then I think we've got to jump to, yes, we've got to jump to the bigger size Torx again. Do wish I bought one of these now that had just the hex insert, like a little 12-volt driver, rather than having to twist and push and twist and push. Right, with that off, I think now, in theory, this comes out, and then these come out. He said, struggling to, ow, get it out. And here are our unknown voltage but not taking a risk LEDs. I'm actually thinking that I could just swap the entire part from this one onto here, which is going to be, I think, the way to go. So, oh, that spins freely now, doesn't it? Bless it. Oh my goodness, there's so much still to do. At least we now have a game plan for this head. As in, we're not going to... We're just going to cut the wires, leave all of this top bit alone, cut the wires, get the PCB out, and then smash it back together on the other side. So, ooh, look at that, look. It started to do a shark, this one. Obviously, Mr. James has been using it. And yeah, you can clean your brush roll up all you want, but you've got to make sure that you get all the hair that goes in there out. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. Just like I'm having a bad time with all of these screwdriver bits. Ah! Calm. Calmy, calmy, calm. Right, you get out. Don't want you. Oh, look, Mr. James has damaged it. Look, it's all been scratched up. He rams it against his furniture, I think. One. Should we count the screws? There's two. Let's make a new pile of screws over here, because otherwise I get confused with the other pile of screws. It's over there. 3, 4. And poppity pop. Once you've done it once or twice, I can't call it a tricky job. It's just fiddly, and I suppose it's double because I'm having to do it twice in order to swap parts around. I'm not putting this back together afterwards. I know that Mr. James wants the 110 volt lot back, so that's fine. Right, 4 screws. Ha ha ha. You pick up any screws, bird, and you're in trouble. So, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, off. Number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12, number 13, and number 14. Out it comes, and oh my goodness, we have a big old problem here. Ooh, screw it. This one is not the same as this one. This one is cogged, this one isn't, and maybe where this all falls apart. Oh goodness. Unless I can swap the cog from the brush rolls, which I think is what I'm going to attempt now, because I can't actually go much further than this without some trickery. Bum. Maybe we should have thought of this first. Oh, right. I do not recommend doing this job because I had to swap the flipping cog over on the motor, and nearly broke the motor, nearly broke the brush roll. I've nearly broken a lot of things today. Not an easy job at all. Certainly quite annoying that Shark decided that they had to use a completely different thing, you know, connecting cog way of working. Why they couldn't just use the same, I don't know, but they didn't. So we need to refit things now and then warm the soldering iron up to get this together. So I'm going to get it all basically back together now. This video has gone on for long enough. I've been doing this for 5 hours now, and I really want to have some dinner. I've not eaten anything yet. So basically, connect up all the wires that we cut. They are, well, they are here. They just need to go back onto this bit here. And I'm going to clean up all of this mess and we'll check if it works. If it doesn't, there is going to be swearing. Oh, here we are, much later than we started with our shark. What was it again? It was a UV700 from the US of A. It's now a British model. It runs on English electricity. It has, from a confab with Mr. James, see, I cannot swap the cables around. I could not fit the cable that Mr. James gave me because, where are we? Here it is, because you can have this as a spare. The cable exit grommet is very handily part of the flex. You can't just slide it off and slide it onto a new cable. Nice one, shark. So we put the quite nice but very thin and cheap braided cable, braided fluted flex on it, and I found a black plug, which I have fitted so it looks roughly nicer than anything else. And we can plug that in. I'm assuming this cable's going to take it. It's thin, but it's as thin as the English cable, so I guess that's fine. Put the cable there, we'll clip the hose in and enjoy our British shark. Oh, there's a squirt. Oh, there's all the bits of plastic. Get up there. Hasn't been a completely wasted entire evening because it does work. I mean, obviously I expect it to work because it was a very simple job that we did, and it does confirm what I've always said. And I say this with a bit of malice, but equally I suppose it makes good business sense, is that these haven't changed since those early navigators that we had on the channel way back earlier on this year. It's the same process, the same way it's put together. Some of the parts have been updated, but overall they haven't, and I guess it saves them on research and development, because why would they need to bother making anything new? They have made new machines. At the time of filming this, the new UK lineup has been announced. It looks very good, but even watching those videos and seeing those press pictures, it's the same parts, just in a new outer shell, which is all this is really. It's all they all are. I have a big pile of parts for the bin because Mr. James doesn't want a lot of this. We're going to keep the filters as a spare, and the bin and the flex and the hose and the wand, but bar that one is no more. And this one is the one that is going to be kept. Our shark, what's it called? Lift, well, it's just a lift away. Really, shark lift away. Although is it? Yeah, it must be. How do you lift it away if it's got no? Oh, who knows? I don't know. I don't think you can use it like the older lift aways as such. I think it just has to stay like that as an upright vacuum cleaner. But hey ho, a job done. It has picked up a fair bit of fluff though from the rug. I'll give it that. They aren't too bad. And hey, I vacuumed with my own shark not terribly long ago. Hey ho, never mind. So, a complete evening doing a complete internal transplant of every single. I did do the LEDs in the end. Where are they? Where did I put the stupid things? In the LEDs. Here they are, and yeah, they are actually the same part number. Where is it? You're going to focus, Mr. Camera? Yeah, 94 volts. They both said that. Obviously, I only found that out after I had stripped them all out, which is a bit of a pain in the bum. But it's done now. And yeah, if you ever do this job, if you ever decide to import a US shark and transplant the innards of a UK one into it, the LEDs are 94 volts. That's fine. It's just all of the other electronic bits that you're probably going to have to swap, as well as the cog from the brush roll motor. All of this is scrap to me, and I feel a little bit bad because obviously for my American viewers, you're probably screaming out for a mint condition shark motor. Look at that, look at how good that is. But problem is, it's all 110 volts and it's a bit pointless for me, and it would cost too much to ship off anyway. So sadly, this is pretty much e-waste, I think. Same as all the rest of it. But this is not. It can go home and I can say job done. So, do I recommend doing this? No. Should you do it? Of course, if you want to. And that is all that matters. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Sorry it's been a long one. Ooh. Keep that as well as a spare, give that to Mr. James. Sorry it's been a long one. I'm assuming I'm going to be able to edit it together into something that hasn't just taken 6.5 hours. And I, but not this, will see you soon. Bye bye.